Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our meeting today, January 19th, New York State Bridge Authority meeting. Before we start that, we have our government committee meeting agenda. Actually, myself as chairman, we have Commissioner Higgins and Commissioner Stanton on the committee. Adopt the minutes of December 15th, 2016 meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Second, review and authorize filing the annual confidential survey commissioner regarding the board performance of the board authority budget office.
Correct. So, in accordance with...
Let's move it
Sorry.
first.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Tom, discussion?
Sure. So, just a little summary of the confidential survey. In accordance with the directive from the Authority Budget Office, the 2016 self-evaluation of board performance has been completed and attached, and it should be noted that the results are generally positive, with commissioners unanimously agreeing with 8 of the 14 criteria. 4 out of 5 commissioners are fully agreed on 4 of the other criteria, and 3 out of 5 commissioners agreed on the final 2 criteria. No commissioner disagreed to any degree with any of the 14 evaluation criteria marks. And I have maintained the confidentiality of the survey and have disposed of the individual responses. With the authorization by the Governors Committee, I will file the results with the ABO, and no action is required by the Board of Commissioners.
Is there any process following up and seeing if we can improve? Again, this is excellent. Very good.
No problem.
But just, is there a way of following up to find any specifics in the
Absolutely. So what we can do is we can have another Governors Committee meeting, and we can go over our chart.
how we could improve.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
For example, like last year's survey, we learned some of the board members were concerned about mitigating risk. Was one of the things you felt like you didn't know how to do risk assessment. From that, we developed an entire process with engineering. After an accident, they go out and do an engineering assessment. They report that to the board, and you guys have you're kept in the loop on stuff like that. So we definitely could drill down into some of the survey and come up with some action items.
Any other discussion?
Need any action on this?
Yes, we do. No?
Just from the Governors Committee, just to authorize it.
Right,
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? If not, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Any other business? If not, a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, our regular scheduled meeting. Before we start, I'll introduce everybody. Our Commissioner on my left here, going around this way. Mr. Rod Dressel, our Deputy Executive, Ms. Tara Sullivan, Commissioner I.M. Jablowski, Commissioner Roger Higgins, our Commissioner Harry Stanton, our Counsel Carl Whitback, and our Executive Director Joseph Ruggiero, and myself as Chairman Richard Gerantine. Over to my right here, we have all our department heads. And on our left, we have our super department heads. So, and saying all that, let's start the meeting. Adopt the minutes of our regular board meeting of December 15th.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No administration and human resource engineering. Mr. Wright,
Good afternoon.
how are you?
Very good. Yourself?
Good, thank you.
Our first thing up on the agenda is the Metro North flagman services for the Mid-Hudson and Newburgh Beacon Bridge steel repair project. We've negotiated an agreement with Metro North for flagging services and a permit to enter their property. So the anticipated not-to-exceed cost is $170,000. We don't have to pay that up front. We just will pay as we go.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, I just have a little question about it. Over the years there, we've had to vote to approve something like that. Just what does the flagman do? In other words, of course, obviously, in case something should drop, but in other words, something. I'm glad to hear it's only pay as we go, but it seems
Right, it used to be different where you had to pay up front.
Some kind of netting of some kind over the railroad, just the section of the railroad, or
They're not going to allow that. They're very strict on anything being done in their work zone, and these are their requirements, and they don't deviate from them.
What is it that triggers our responsibility to contract with them? them? Is it entering on their property?
No, it's working above their property.
Yeah.
So any work we
Where their
do
rights of way.
right over top of the railroad, we have to notify them.
Yeah, but what is it that, who says that? Why is that?
Federal
What's the-
regulation.
No, wait a minute, be careful, you sure you're
I'm
quoting?
not sure it's federal regulation, but there is a statute. It does require notification when we're going to do work over their right-of-way.
When I worked for the phone
So then
company,
they
we
send
had
a
the same.
a flagman there with a helmet on. And if he doesn't get hit in the head.
Oh, he's not underneath the
then
bridge.
he's got to
He's-
call the train and tell them to stop, that there's a.
Well, actually, there's the one on either end of the bridge with a.
On each side of the bridge.
Right, so we pay for two of them most of the time.
Well, and you pay for the back office people that are working at
The
the same
overhead is-
time, and there's a lot of cost involved.
It is a wise thing to do, because if you do have an accident, having taken this preemptive space, but I've never been sure, just, with.
Well, I'll send it to you.
But let me tell you, even if there were no record, it'd be a very wise thing to do.
And they
Because the
wouldn't-
potential liability is great.
Because it's just things like this that kind of hurt people. In other words, whoever the flagmen are there, they've got friends and relatives, and they're bragging about what a job they got.
I think they're conductors, aren't they, Jeff?
And,
They are
you know,
conductors.
Yeah, they're conductors. They're
They're,
not.
they're state workers.
They're overtime
No, wait, not state.
conductors, yeah.
No, they're Metro North.
They're Metro
Right,
North.
no, they're Metro
Conductors.
North, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Metro North hasn't got the best reputation.
Let's
Anyway,
not
okay.
comment on that.
I'll vote for it. I'll vote this time for it, but another year, I'd like to tell them that you've got you got a commissioner that's maybe convinced a couple other commissioners to scrutinize it a little closer.
He just wants a job, a retirement job.
Yeah, that's all.
Get him a helmet.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is our fourth quarter accident summary report. You can see on the spreadsheet there the number of accidents we've had actually throughout the whole year, but this is specifically the fourth quarter. It seems to be pretty much in line with last year's fourth quarter, and the reason some of the first quarter and second quarter were lower is we had it was a mild winter, so that
Not
made it
over
pretty
yet.
easy. That's right. That'll be in our first quarter coming up.
Jeff, are you using much smaller type here than we used to?
Yeah. I'm trying to get it on one sheet of paper.
We moved it?
No action.
No action?
And then the jobs in progress, the 3 jobs we have continuing right now are up at Rip Van Winkle, the sidewalk project. The contractor began installing sidewalk panels late last week and through this week, so we're well on our way starting to put panels on the sidewalk there. We are working with the Skywalk project for the bump outs and continue to work with them on that project. Walkway over to Hudson, there's one remaining defective camera that remains on the punch list. It's not moving right now, so we're getting the manufacturer to come out and take a look at that. The Newburgh Beacon Bridges and Mid-Hudson Bridge steel repair contract continues at Newburgh Beacon with steel repairs continuing down there.
Move to accept the jobs in progress report.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Thank you
Jeff.
very much.
Can we just say, we had talked briefly a couple months ago about having a report from the inspectors on the condition of the bridges, which we used to do as an annual event. Could we set that up sometime in the future? Okay.
Yep.
You could just have them come in and give us a...
Yeah, so we'll be doing the inspections starting again in the springtime.
Mhm.
So when we're going to have.
You want the inspections from last year as a briefing?
I think the board
Sure.
should be brought up to date. Yeah.
You're generally come in, though, right, during the course of the year?
Yeah, usually the
Right,
reports are not getting
We were
in.
going to wait for the 2017
Well, we-
reports. You wouldn't get into it end of summer.
Right,
Yeah, we used to have an
Harry's
annual event.
asking
We used to have an
Right.
annual event every October when the engineers,
Right.
the chief engineers would
We'll bring Barney.
come in and bring, yeah.
right. We could set that up for,
Yeah.
where we are now.
And reassure us that
And then
we would
once
do it.
2017, then we'll make it, in October or
Okay,
whatever.
great.
Yeah, okay,
Thank you.
very good.
Brian,
Good afternoon.
how are you today?
Good, yourself?
Good.
Okay, first up is the monthly investment report. There were 10 investments, all of a routine nature, during the month of December. In addition to that, somewhat unusual, we took on additional collateral associated with requirements under the resolution to maintain all cash on deposit at our bank, which is Bank of America, fully collateralized. Basically, the collateral that existed due to changes in market interest rates had declined to a point where we kept bumping up against it, so I chose to increase it. All the investments on the first page are reflected in the investment inventory. Currently, the maintenance reserve fund stands at an approximate balance of $48.2 million. Investment yield, as noted in previous board meetings, we had some investments from, believe it or not, prior to the financial crisis or to the recession. They actually matured in the month of November. And what we're seeing is a little bit lower interest rates associated with the prevailing interest rates that we're able to obtain right now.
Lower.
Well, compared to what we were able to get in the last
Before
decade.
crisis.
Oh, last
Yes.
decade.
Yes. So we took out some long-term investments back. The
So
end
these
of
are
last-
long-term, okay.
Well, they matured in November. So normally, we do not sell investments. We hold them till maturity. Those investments were purchased in like the 8, 9, 10 time frame, and that was as interest rates were being pushed way down.
Motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Okay, as required under our bond resolution, the board sets via information from the consulting engineer the value of the balance in the insurance fund. That's typically set based on the value of the largest, most expensive sections of each of the bridges. Basically, this represents the deductible or insurance deductible on the bridge property and loss of revenue policy. That balance is set or is recommended by the consulting engineer for the year 2017 at $10,855,000. It's 3% of the largest value, which is the span of the south span of the Newburgh Beacon Bridge of $362 million.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, last up, the Accident Review Committee report for the fourth quarter of 2016. In the fourth quarter, there were 84 accidents on authority facilities. This does not consider, or this includes, authority vehicle-related accidents. There were 79 in the previous year. During the fourth quarter, there were 2 accidents involving authority vehicles. Details of each accident are identified in the memo. Overall, for the year, there were a total of 281 accidents. This was lower than 2015, okay? 2015 was very much an anomaly because 2014 was more in line with 2016. This equates to approximately 1 accident for every 223,000 crossings. There's no action required by the board. This is just for information purposes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. No IT, bridge operations?
Good afternoon.
Hey, Yusuf.
So we have one item today, and that's our annual dues for Transcom. They come in this year at $79,054. It should be noted that that is an increase of 17.5% over the previous year, and it is over our budgeted amount by $4,554. I've talked to Brian about this, and we're going to allocate that out and to other accounts, and I recommend that we approve this payment.
Why has it increased so much?
They had a issue with the multiple agency that funds Transcom. They had a structure in place for funding pensions for employees who were previously Port Authority employees, and they put it on the books as a net asset without a net liability, the reserve fund. So what happened was their fund balance for credit purposes was overstated, but when the accountants went in and really did the proper accounting, the fund balance was too low for Transcom to get credit from the lending institutions, because they get their money filtered into them once a year by the respective DOTs. So in order to make the organization stable, they had to increase the fund balance. So everybody had to chip in more to bring it up to a certain level of fund balance. In about 2 years, that replenishment will be done, and the organization will be fine, and there won't be any more increases.
For us new guys, now, just what is Transcom and what does it do?
Transcom is a not-for-profit entity which was created in the 90s, which does all the communications, 511. Anytime you hear of an accident somewhere in the tri-state region, Transcom gets that information out to the world. So we report our statuses of our bridges, wind speeds, closures to Transcom, and then they report it out, and that starts to create the VMS signs, postings. There was, for example, when the Tappan Zee Bridge closed, Transcom was notified, and they'll put their message as far out as Pennsylvania, Washington. So it's a one-stop shopping, if you will, on real-time.
So they control all those signs you see?
We control them.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we control them. We tell them, and then the messages go up. They do control some signs, but ours, we control.
Okay.
Transcom has its own website, too, for this
It does,
information.
Yeah, right.
which is wonderful if you're worried about traffic on your way home.
Yeah, the GPS systems pick up the Transcom reports, and that's, what ends up on your navigation system. It's from
Turns red.
Transcom.
The road turns red.
Yeah.
Correct. You got it. Yeah, so what's that one called? That's called hominum or something like that, where it turns red when you're driving.
There's waves, I think, is one.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's
That
one
one?
too. Yeah, that's one too. Yeah.
All right, any other questions, Scott, for Scott? If not, motion to,
Move.
Second.
Thank you very
not,
much.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Scott. All right, Executive Director reports, monthly activity report.
Sure, you have the expense report, which doesn't have any. You have the monthly traffic and revenue analysis report. We're going to be ending the year pretty much on target for revenue. We had seen an overall increase in traffic and revenue for the year. And we saw a huge surge of Easy Pass sales in the month of December. We ran a 2-week radio campaign vocally promoting Easy Pass as a great holiday gift. At the same time, we were handing flyers out in the cash lanes. And then, unbeknownst to us, the state ran a new Easy Pass commercial on the major networks in the city promoting Easy Pass. So we saw this tremendous spike in Easy Pass sales. It was going quicker than hotcakes.
Has anybody seen the commercial?
Yes,
Yeah.
you?
Notice the reference to the 50% discount?
Yeah.
So, all in the effort of promoting Easy Pass.
Next report, Towers,
Yeah.
Michael Bridges.
Thank you, Commissioner. In my report, you'll see the expenditures for November and just some brief project updates. The Skywalk received a Department of State grant of $500,000 to allow us to add bump outs on the new sidewalk on Rip Van Winkle. You've probably seen the press on that, so we're very pleased. We're just now finishing the final review of the interpretive signage that will be going into production soon for the Rip Van Winkle interpretive signs. And those will include 2 additional signs to note the many historic sites in the region, as well as one about the birthplace of American art.
What does that mean?
In that area, the Hudson River School of Painters
Hudson
was
River School.
originated, and
Okay.
that's often been
So
called.
the Rip Van Winkle Bridge runs from Frederick Church's house to Thomas
Yeah.
Cole's house.
Oh, okay.
They were close.
Yeah.
They were buds.
I just didn't
Yeah.
know birthplace of American art sounded.
That was a little broader term than that. But in going through the files the other day, we found a letter from Mrs. Cole
Oh, really?
seeking reimbursement for a piece of the property that we're going to take, and who's responsible. It was a handwritten note.
Wow.
It was very interesting.
Wonderful.
Did you
Yes.
get back to us?
And the answer, well, your predecessor said, I don't know.
Who was that, Switch Curran?
Oh, you know, it was long before.
Oh, before
no.
Switch?
This was, yeah.
Oh, it was long, was it?
Well, we're talking
19th
about the stuff I
century?
found. It's fascinating stuff.
Right, right.
Yeah. But,
Interesting.
you know, you have to have been here 20 years to realize how fascinating it was. Most of you wouldn't find that.
Something to look forward to.
I'm just curious about it. I guess, Jeff, when you do these bump outs, I'm sure you're doing it, but how do you, it's going to add weight to one side of the bridge, right? How's that being
It's all-
counterbalanced?
It's all being designed by the GPI up in Albany, but they're tying into the existing cantilever system that's already, see, the beams that hold up the sidewalk now extend about halfway or more underneath the deck and are supported that way. So this extra, the sidewalk is 6 feet now, it's being extended just another 4, because that's about all we can handle with those existing cantilevers, and doing a little additional modification.
'Cause it's always seemed
Yeah.
offside to me, or upside.
Yeah,
and I-
but it's it's only pedestrian traffic and that sort of thing, so.
Maybe you ought to
that's
think
fine.
about doing that on the one side of the Bear Mountain down there.
Well, see, Bear
That's
Mountain-
off-centered also.
Bear Mountain's both sides. but
Yes.
Newburgh's got a
Oh, because
one-sided
it has a sidewalk, doesn't it?
Two-sided, one's an arrow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was the result of reconstruction of the roadway deck. Extra space.
We will be coming forward at one of the next, if not February, definitely by March, a change order to the existing contract for the sidewalk to incorporate the project that the grant will reimburse. I don't know if you're following the governor's State of the State message. He announced the Empire Trail, which is basically a super long rail trail from New York to Canada, from Albany to Buffalo, and this will be part of that system.
Yeah.
So we're,
That's right.
yeah, so, interesting.
So finishing up my report, Kathy submitted a nice little list there for you, and she was invited to speak at a club of Rod Russell's, and very well received, and he has suggested that she come and do a presentation to the entire board, so she is preparing that for next month or March.
Very good.
So I got my CLS catalog, and I noticed her class was in the CLS.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
CLS.
Center for Lifetime Studies at Marist.
Oh, wow.
And so, there are tons of people that go to it. I'm trying to decide if I'm obligated to attend this history course.
Tara, it is going to be a approved certified class, correct? Because they have the ongoing studies, ongoing credits that they need.
Yeah.
And it's going to be considered as one of those credits, correct? Inclusive in that.
I am not sure about it being accredited. Of course, they're not
the
accredited.
CLS classes are
Yeah.
non-accredited.
They're for lifetime learners.
They're for
You know what
lifetime.
you-
For
But some of the
college
teachers
kids.
have to take these courses and they need these credits.
Oh.
as an
Oh,
ongoing-
I see, for
You've
history.
been talking to Mr. Pesavento,
No, he's
haven't
been
you?
talking to me.
Yeah, yes, we are working on that, and he's been very helpful, and he will actually be voted on as a new Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley Board member at our next meeting. I'm very happy
Would you
about
be
that.
good enough to share that information with me when you get a chance? I'm giving a speech to the Northern Westchester Investment Group next week, my regular slideshow, and I'll mention that to them.
Okay.
You may have people who would want to come over.
Great, you bet.
Any questions for Tara? Tara, thank you. Any questions? If not, any presentation to the board, any old business, new business, attorney-client privilege? None? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Next meeting, February 16th at 3 PM. Thank you.